Blessed day, guys, and peace be upon you this morning. So in this video, we're going to configure access control list for VTY interfaces. So remember, VTY interfaces are those terminals that we use to log into the device remotely, telnet or SSH. Okay, so I will open Google spreadsheet and let you know that today we're in the final class under switching technologies, right? Okay, so ACL for VTY interfaces. Why would we want to configure access control list for VTY interface? Because to restrict those who can configure the devices. Not everybody should be able to SSH to the networking devices and configure them, but to only IT or system admins or specific people within the IT department, not everyone. Okay, so today we're going to do that approach and show you how to secure the VTY interfaces from unauthorized access. Okay, so I've already highlighted steps here through which I'm going to follow to achieve this objective. The first step is always to draw the necessary topology, decorate and decomment. Second step, configure IP address to all the PCs plus routers interfaces, and remember to test the communication. So this is a simple topology that we are going to use to configure ACL for VTY interface. On the left side, I have an IT department computer, sysadmin's PC, and on the bottom here, I have the sales department. And under sales department, I have these computers. And the guideline here has said that we should configure IP address to all these computers and the routers interface. So what I did was to allocate this network on IT department and this network for sales department, and this router's interface to take 192.168.1.1, but this router interface to take 192.168.2.1. okay, so this one takes 2.8, 2.7.6.5, but this one takes 1.1. so if I can just show you from this PC, you can see IP is 2.5, then the default gateway is 2.1, which is the IP address of this one. Okay, all right, so the same applies to this PC. If I can show you 1.5 and IP address is default gateway is 1.1, which is the IP address of this interface. So we need to test if the IT department can reach sales department. So I'll try to ping. I already did that, so ping that one. I can see it's reaching, and then another one was 2.5. Just give it time, it will ping because that is already in the network. Okay, all right, so that's achieved. So the third step is to configure any management VLAN and assign it IP address in the subnet. So we're going to do SSH on the switch. Okay, so we need to configure a management VLAN on the switch. Okay, remember by default switch as VLAN 1.
Okay, so I log into the switch. To configure the management VLAN. Remember, it's this management VLAN that we'll be using to access the VTY interface. Okay, we're going to assign IP address to this management VLAN and use it to access the switch remotely. Okay, alright. So enable config T. Okay, so I don't want to create a new VLAN because by default VLAN 1 is already created in the switch. So we need to use VLAN 1 as our management VLAN here. Okay, so we are going to use VLAN 1 as our management in this setup. But when we reach under routing and we have done inter-VLAN routing, we can read any other VLAN and use it as our management VLAN. But as per now, let's use VLAN 1 as the management VLAN. So how do we assign IP address to a VLAN? So you just say interface VLAN 1. You enter that interface. Because we said we are going to use VLAN 1 as our management VLAN because we've not done inter-VLAN routing. We can't create any other VLAN in this setup because we've not done inter-VLAN routing. So we have to use VLAN 1 as our management VLAN. Okay, so we just say interface VLAN 1. Then it's always in shutdown state. We need to turn it up. Just say no no shut. Okay, now it's up, and we can assign it IP address in this subnet, the way it was said here. Okay, in the subnet. So the subnet is 2.0. So we can assign it any IP address in that subnet. And I will choose to assign it IP address, the last IP address. So we just say IP to be 192.168.2.254. The last IP address in that subnet. Then subnet mask 255.255.255.0 and hit enter. Very simple. How to assign IP address to VLAN? You just enter the VLAN number, interface VLAN number, then you assign IP address plus the subnet mask. Simple. So number 4, configure the router as the default gateway of the switch. Alright, so remember, this router here, the interface of this router, this interface, okay, which is 2.1, should act as the default gateway of this department, okay? Alright, so we need to tell this switch that its default gateway is the IP address of this interface, okay? So how do we do that? Very simple, just issue a command IP default gateway, exit first, exit that interface, then say IP default gateway to be 192.168.2.1, okay? Exit, and I want to try if it will ping its default gateway 192.168.2.1. Oh, the switch, it's pinging, and what if it can ping the IT department PC, which is IT department PC serving IP address of 1.5, sorry, yes, should be 1.5. Okay, let's say it can ping 1.5. Yes, it's pinging, so that's okay. So we've done number 4, configure the router as default gateway of the switch. So we tell the switch that its default gateway is IP address, okay? Alright, now let's do this. Let's configure enable password on the switch, hostname plus domain name, username and password. Remember, when you're configuring SSH, make sure that these are included, because if you don't include these, your SSH might fail, okay? Or you won't proceed to configure SSH, because these are the prerequisites, they are requirements. So let's start with the hostname, then you come to enable password, then domain name, username and password, okay? Very, very important. So let's start with the hostname, config T. So just say hostname to be test switch, test SSH, okay? Very simple. Then how do we proceed? We proceed to configure, what is it? We proceed to configure enable password. Very, very important for privilege exec mode. Enable password to be, let's just use Cisco. In my case, in your case, you can use anything like, right? Then after enabling password, we configure domain name. Domain name, very, very important when trying to log into a device remotely. Okay, so we just say IP domain name. In my case, I always use cisco.com. You can use google.com, anything that you like. Okay, or yourorganization.com. Alright, and finally, we configure username and password. So just say username Cisco, password to be Cisco. Username, any name you like. Password, any name you like. And hit enter. Then we're done with the number 5. Let's go to number 6. Generate crypto RSA keys using 1024 modulus length. So this is where SSH configuration begins. Because SSH will need these keys to encrypt the communication. Okay, so let's do that very, very fast. Crypto key generate RSA and you hit enter. Then you will find a prompt. Do you really want to replace them? Yes or no? Yes. You can say yes, and it will ask you how many bits. You can just say 1024 and you hit enter. Right? Okay, so it's very, very important to generate the keys, because this is what SSH normally use to encrypt the communication. Okay, all right. So the next step, which is number 7, configure line VTY to use local database and to allow only SSH. Remember, it's the line VTY that we're going to use to remotely log into the switch. So we have to enter the line VTY 0 to 15. There are always 16 VTY interfaces. 0 to 15 is 16. You start counting from 0. Hit enter. Then we've been told to use the local database. Use the local database. What are the local database? You can clearly remember that we configured username and password. So these are the database content that we're going to use here. So we just say here, when you come here, you come to the switch, we just say login local. Okay? Using the previous username and password, okay, that we just configured. Then the statement goes ahead to say to allow only SSH. We need to allow only SSH on the VTY interface. How do we do that? A very simple command. We just say transport input SSH, or just let's query and see transport input. We can input all, which means telnet or SSH, none of them, SSH alone or telnet alone. But in this case, let's do SSH, because SSH is the secure version to remotely log into any device.
SSH enter. Then we exit. All right. Okay. Number 8 says enable SSH version 2. Remember, there are two versions of SSH: SSH version 1 and SSH version 2. So how do we enable SSH version? Just say IP SSH version query. We have version 1 and version 2. Version 2 is the best one, the latest version, and you hit enter. That's all. Then number 9 says try to SSH from any PC. This will work in every PC. Let's do that. Okay, let's start from the sysadmin PC. I come here and how do I SSH? Just say SSH, then -L, letter L. Okay, this is not one, this is not high, it's letter L. Then the username was Cisco, and the management IP address, okay, which was 192.168.2.254, and you hit enter. You see, we are being asked password. The password was always Cisco. See, we are in test SSH switch, which is this switch here. So let's try to SSH from even the switch, the local switch, the local computer, any of them. Just say SSH-L, username was Cisco, and the management IP address of the switch. Right, so it was 192.168.2.254, and you hit enter. You see, Cisco, and we are in test switch. Okay, all right. This should work in every PC. It will work even in this PC, this one. Okay, all right. So let's proceed. Configure ACL access control list to permit only sysadmin to access VTY interface. Guys, this was the discussion of today's class: how to configure ACL for VTY interface. Very simple. So how do you do that? We just log into this switch. We just come to this switch, and we create access list to permit only IP address of the sysadmin PC. Okay, just say access list. Let's just use the standard access list. Okay, access list 10 permit. Let me query permit host 192.168.1.5, the IP address of sysadmin PC. Okay, it was 1.5. If I come here, you will see it's 192.168.1.5. okay, then when you come back here, you just hit enter. Okay, then you just say access list 10 still deny any. We only want this host to be used. Okay, so it's very, very simple. Now we associate this access list into the VTY interface to take effect. Okay, because it's just an access list, but it has not been, we didn't bind it to anything, so we need to bind it to we need to put it or insert it into a VTY interface to take effect. So we just log into VTY line VTY 0 to 15. Okay, and we just say access class 10, the number, don't forget the number. Okay, access class 10 to get inside and you hit enter. That's all. Exit, hit enter. Okay, so what is it now? Try to SSH from any PC. Only sysadmin should work. Let's do that from any PC. Remember, when we were trying to SSH from this PC here, you can see it was successful, and still we are here. So let's just exit, and try to SSH again. Hit enter. What did you see? Hit enter. What did you see? Connection refused by remote host. access control list for VTY interface. Now let's go to sysadmin PC and try to SSH. Okay, exit. Let's try to SSH again. Hit enter. You see Cisco. Exit. SSH again. Cisco. Yeah, so that's what we wanted, guys. That's the simplest way to configure access control list for VTY interfaces to control who can configure or manage our Cisco devices. So thank you so much. I'll let you know that today we are done with the switching technologies, and tomorrow we will begin from routing technology. So I welcome everyone to this channel. Please subscribe, like our video, share the videos, and please don't forget to drop a comment below. It really motivates us a lot. So thank you so much, and let's see you again in the next video. Bye.